the philosophy of this initiative is based on the inter-regional function and reality of the IPA. Many excellent psychoanalytic dictionaries exist, but the majority, or almost all of them, are national dictionaries or regional dictionaries. The idea to connect the many psychoanalytic communities through a great inter-regional psychoanalytic encyclopedic dictionary came because of the scientific commitment of the IPA, which is not only a regulatory or administrative body, but has also a function, a task, I would say a mission, at the inter-regional level. So putting together in one encyclopedic dictionary the scientific patrimony of the many communities all over the world has become, during our administration, one of the main engagements. And we are grateful to all those colleagues who engage themselves in this enterprise. The issue is to give representation and information to these, about these many contributions without forcing any integration of the different versions of the concepts. We want that possibly all the contributions by the different schools, areas, institutions are reported and clearly presented to the IPA members. And we believe that this production will be extremely helpful not only to the psychoanalysts, but also to the candidates, to the psychoanalytic psychotherapists, and to all those who are interested in the psychoanalytic thinking. The historical reconstruction of the concepts, the presentation of the different understandings, explanations, versions, one could say, that they achieved for years in very different areas of the IPA, can give an impressive image of the richness and of the variety of our field. An appropriate methodology has been built up, and my colleagues, the Co-Chars, will explain this process, which is complex in order to respect the contributions from every areas, but also the resonances that come to these contributions in the other areas. So this big dictionary will report the content, the philosophy, the perspective of this scientific production with its consequences and resonances in the scientific milieu of the IPA. Only IPA had the resources, the knowledge, and the contacts for preparing this kind of encyclopedic dictionary. And the moment had come to try this very exciting, even if demanding, enterprise.
Thank you.
I'm Eva Papiasvili, and I'm the co-chair for North America, which means in the IPA geography, United States, Canada, and Japan. And I will give you a real bird's eye view of methodology. Now, in line with the philosophy that was just explicated by Dr. Bolognini, we have set up in ongoing consultations a multi-phasic methodological process, which is constantly evolving and is full of feedback loops. First, the step was the identification of psychoanalytic concepts which would be relevant to today's psychoanalysts at work and in their to their thinking. Then comes the intra-regional phase, where the regional consultants, usually 20 to 25 regional consultants, were put together into the teams, conceptual teams, according to what the original answers to the question, which concepts inform your thinking and your clinical work most. We call that 5+1, meaning which 5 concepts are you thinking and which 5 concepts inform your work most. And then there is one concept which would be the one that you connect with your region specifically, which either originated in this region or which resonates with it as you are thinking about your work. Now then the intra-regional teams were formed, and consultants would write on those concepts which they mentioned together, engaging variety of perspectives. Then there is a transition between the intra-regional and inter-regional phase. Just before the transition, the conceptual teams, once finished with their conceptual drafts, give to the full pool of regional consultants the conceptual draft to review. It's a review process, intra-regional review process. And then there is the pioneering, truly pioneering inter-regional phase. There, one consultant from each region, from those teams that originally wrote those particular concept drafts, becomes an inter-regional consultant and is part of the inter-regional team of consultants who are then putting together, collating the inter-regional entry. Okay? Now that process is also pretty complex. Just again, we will be talking about certain specifics, but a very important thing to remember here is that there is a process involved which involves either 3 regional drafts, 3 original regional drafts which then get collated together, or it is a process where first there is a bi-regional draft and then there is a response draft of another region which responds to the bi-regional draft, and sometimes there is one original regional draft. This is with more specific concepts, and then the other 2 regions are responding to it. Everything gets collated together. Okay? Now, as it regards in the publication, you may ask, because we are talking about the concepts according to their frequency of being, how they were mentioned, how relevant they were found to the contemporary analysts at work. It's not alphabetic, but there will be alphabetized index so that we can find the concept according to that. That was one big question last time that we discussed it. The unprecedented inter-regional methodology involving intercultural translations, which are multidimensional. It's a language, but also how people think. Very often leads to deep appreciation of and insight into internal connections within and between different perspectives and within and between different elements of conceptualizations in their evolution And I can tell you that a lot of what had been previously thought of generally as unrelated, thus then the understanding deepens as to how they relate. Okay? Thank you.
My name is Arne Jemstedt from Sweden, and I am the European co-chair for this important project, and it is really an honor to be part of it. In Europe, there are 25 consultants engaged in this work, coming from most of the European societies, including also Israel. It might be of interest to know what five most important concepts were suggested by the European consultants, which Eva just talked about. And they were transference, countertransference, the unconscious, drive, and free association, and then setting as a specific European concept. The European consultants have worked very creatively and constructively in producing the intra-regional and inter-regional drafts. This work is very interesting and not always easy. The drafts will of course be colored by the ideas and styles of the individual contributors, which is very good. But it is important, as both of you underlined, that the draft is encompassing and includes theories and aspects that may not be of special interest for the contributor. Besides these personal differences in the teams, there are also cultural differences. For example, the style and way of writing in France is different from the style and way of writing in America. I would like to underline, which is in line with what Stefano and Eva said, that this IPA three-regional encyclopedic dictionary is it's unique. It is truly international and encyclopedic. Concepts will be described from perspectives from all the three regions, Europe, North America and Latin America, including intra-regional differences. For me, it has been very interesting to learn more about North American and Latin American ways of thinking clinically and theoretically in this process. It is also unique in the sense that it starts from the grassroots, as Eva described. Consultants from the three regions are asked about what concepts are most important for them clinically and theoretically, and it's from here that the work begins. It is also important to understand, which Stefano underlined, that the goal is not to create a sort of integrated description of the concept in question, but to produce a text where different theories and understandings of it are represented in a rich and comprehensive way. Finally, this is a huge, impressive and ongoing process, and it will take a long time to finish it. Okay?
Thank you. Okay, now about North America. Looking at the specifics of the North American participation, I would highlight several points, which I was very impressed by and emerged spontaneously. The motto becomes inclusion on the merit. Now this, thankfully, produced such enriching conceptualizations, which were never mentioned in any overall dictionary or encyclopedic dictionary before. For instance, as third model theorizing, which is now part of the object relations theories. North American French theorizing on conflict and intersubjectivity, coming out of Quebec and New York. And first time, inclusion of Japanese psychoanalytic concept ame. Another point, very spontaneously developing, is welcoming the diversity of perspectives. The original consultants spontaneously enlisted additional contributors to write on underrepresented perspectives. In here, the less known perspectives become an asset. And a very active review process, where with the general expected average review process would be people send in comments, they are questioning something, please clarify this and that. In North America, what happened was that in certain cases the reviewers became writers. Oh, you forgot that. And then I said, great, right. And the person actually then supplanted the North American draft with their particular chapter. Now all this prepared us rather well for the inter-regional phase. In all the inter-regional work, which I had an honor to participate as a coordinating co-chair, then learning through differences and see them as meaningfully interrelated became a core insight and experience. Now what we observed throughout that new experience is that the contours of the conceptual landscapes are changing in a very natural, organic way. Some concepts considered regionally specific were considered by two regions regionally specific, so they become actually much more globally interconnected than those two regions thought. The idea, for instance, enactment. North America thought, well, we have Ted Jacobs, so this is our concept, right? And Latin America, there's other people, this is also our concept. And we are very inspired by your North American thinking, but this is what we did with it. Right? And then, of course, Europe writes their response draft, a very important one, where actually we realized that there were certain untranslated conceptual writings which were related to enactment, coming from Belgian society, writing in French, not translated, not on PEP web either. So we encouraged them to please supply that. And it was supplied. So now, for the first time, again, there are concepts which may have existed as sort of isolates in their own sphere of language and culture, very meaningful, obviously very helpful, otherwise these people would not promulgate that and work with it. And now we also will have a benefit, the global psychoanalytic community will have a benefit to then relate to it and see how they can interrelate further with maybe more traditional conceptual base. Now what is emerging through all this interrelational work, intergenerational work, is internally interconnected multi-perspectival psychoanalytic thinking. But right now I just want to name the concepts which already are going to be published among the first ones on the website. Transference, countertransference, the unconscious, projective identification, containment, Nachdrücklichkeit, object relations theories, conflict, and then regionally moderately specific enactment, setting, drives, self, intersubjectivity, ego psychology, field concepts including field theory and multiple fields theory, and regionally highly specific AME, transformation, and theory of communication.
Can I add, may I add,
Yes,
add
sure.
one thing? People might not know what the co-chairs do. Eva is the co-chair for North America, and I'm the co-chair for Europe, and Elias da Rocha Barros is the co-chair for Latin America. And you can say that our task is to be the editor for the intra-regional drafts and also for the inter-regional drafts, where we are the coordinator. One of us is always the coordinator for the inter-regional draft.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Thank you very much.